Hi everyone, Davy Mooney here, UNT guitar professor, Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records artist, etc. I'm making this video to talk about my brand new book. Here it is, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary from Mel Bay Publishing. And I wanted to make a video to just give you all a little preview of the concepts therein. So basically, I wrote this book because I started teaching a jazz improvisation class at the University of North Texas. And more broadly, in my travels and my teaching experiences over the years, I've encountered, for lack of a better way of putting it, among intermediate to advanced players, two kinds of players, really. Folks that have found a way to assimilate aspects of the jazz language, of classic jazz language, into their playing, and people that have been less successful at that. And often I'll find among intermediate to advanced players people that are pretty good at playing in the key areas of the tunes that they're playing on through the use of chord scales or other means, but often there be a missing ingredient to my ears, which is really some of that language that you actually hear on classic jazz records. And so in trying to teach that and delve into that issue, I thought about what I did to get some of that language into my own playing. And really, that sort of brought me back to the guitar lessons I took in the 1990s with the great Hank Mackey in New Orleans. And I did something that I thought was kind of intuitive, or what everyone did to get this stuff in their playing, which is basically, in a nutshell, on a standard progression, I would pick a certain progression in the tune or a certain bar or bars, and I would plug in something hip that my teacher showed me that was a lick, or I like to use, in the book, I focused on, I have to credit the great Brad Shepik with the term tropes, musical jazz tropes, little fragments of language that everyone plays. I don't know if they're involved enough to really call them a lick, but I would plug those in to certain parts of the tune, and then I would improvise around them with my nascent improvisational voice. And it maybe sounded a little incongruous at the beginning. I'd be playing some spacey kind of whatever I was playing when I was 14, and then I would play, I remember one lick in particular was this, which is great. It's a 2-5-1 in the key of C. And eventually, over time, I would just try to fool people, the audience, other musicians, regarding what I was actually improvising and what I wasn't. And at some point, I guess it all kind of started to sound like something a little more coherent, so that now when I play, I'm not really sure what I'm quote-unquote improvising. But anyway, in the book, what we do is I have 10 standard progressions, and I write some language in 5 spots in, say, a chorus, 32 bars, or if the form is shorter than 32 bars, something close to 32 bars, maybe. I think I have 3 choruses of blues, 2 choruses of 16-bar tune, etc. And the point is, for the person who uses the book, we have backing tracks, courtesy of the great drummer Matt Young and bassist Mike Luzecki here in Denton. And players are encouraged to play the written material exactly. Don't improvise with what's written. But then to improvise around it, to try to trick people. And I tell students here, I'll show you, I'll give you a little peek in here, so you can maybe see, I don't know how good the quality is, but you can see that I have some stuff written and then the rest of slashes. I tell students that even if you're to play a couple choruses and you had certain things worked out, and maybe you did it the same way 2 choruses in a row, the chances of anybody actually lies to you, to your subterfuge, are pretty, I don't know, pretty remote. You never know, but it's certainly, in my opinion, preferable to not having any language to play. So I'll just talk a little bit, maybe demonstrate not exactly anything from the book, but something along those lines. In an earlier chapter, I talk about what I call 5/8 note resolution cells and 9/8 note resolution cells, and basically I'm using them in the context of 5/1 progressions and ways to get some altered language into your improvising. So one that I use a lot, say if we're in the key of E flat on a B flat 7 chord, say on 3 and 4 and of the B flat 7 measure going into beat 1 of the E flat 6 or E flat major 7. I tend to think of them as sixes these days, but so 1, 2, and it's just so works so well, an augmented triad, that's all it is, on the root resolving to the 9 of the 1 chord. It's just very simple and very beautiful. Another one would be, say in the same key, these are 5-note resolution cells, obviously, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, some altered stuff, and then the 5th note is the resolution. Here's another one, same key. In this case, it's a tritone substitution. On a B flat 7 chord, I'm playing an E major triad. And I'm actually resolving to the root of E flat, which I find actually works with a tritone sub. It works in other contexts too, but especially there. So those are two 5/8 note resolution cells. Here's another one. Say we were going to F minor. Here's 9/8 notes. So it'd be like a C7. It's really just from the harmonic minor scale, I guess, if you wanted to think about it that way. But you've got 8/8 notes on the C7, and then it resolves to the minor third. And let's see, one more in the key of E flat, 9/8 notes. So here's a. So if it were just a measure of B flat 7 or a measure of 2 beats of F minor, 2 beats of B flat, going to E flat, 2, 3, 4. Right, some chromaticism, some scale notes, a little chromatic enclosure of the third of the B flat 7, an arpeggio, and then that flat 9 resolving nicely to the 5th. So what I'll do, like I said in the book, I have very specific 5 short, usually a measure long, like I said, 9/8 notes, things like that. I try to displace them rhythmically, so it's not always right on the beat. But here's what I'll do. I'll use those 4 that I just showed you. I'll play a chorus or a couple choruses of a standard song with a backing track from the record, and I'm just gonna improvise, but I'm gonna make a point to use those 4 ideas a lot, just to demonstrate really another point of the book is the idea that being able to switch from the whatever part of your brain is the improvising, expressing yourself part of the brain to the, oh, I need to play something exactly right here to get me through this progression that I maybe don't know how to improvise on yet because I'm not as comfortable with it, or even for more advanced players, I definitely use this in my mind when I'm playing metrically complicated music. I have to be able to improvise a bit and express myself, but at the same time know where I am and maybe even count a little bit. So anyway, like I said, this is a preview of the type of stuff in my new book, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary. Here we go.
1, 2, a 1, 2, 3.
So there you have it. I didn't have, specific bars planned out beforehand where I would play those four ideas. But in the book, that's what we do. And for players that maybe aren't as familiar with this type of language, it really forces you to know where you are in the tune at all times, and again, try to disguise what you're improvising and what you're not improvising. So please pick up a copy. There's links, my social media stuff. It's in my Instagram bio, and however you're seeing this video, I'm sure nearby there will be a link. So, all right, have a great day, everybody.